If you wanna stay with me, if you wanna try, maybe you could be with me, but only for a night.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Board Game Specialist. I am Melanie.
I'm Carla.
And today we are doing our top 9 games better than the game of life. We talked about that a little bit before. My stepson, his girlfriend, when she came and saw my whole collection, she was like, "Do you have the game of life?" And at the time, I'll point that out, I had to say no, nor do I really want to have the game of life. But Carla, you've played the game of life.
Oh yeah, I played it as a kid several times.
So Game of Life is basically a roll and move, except you don't roll a dice, you spin the wheel. So it's a spin and move. And as you progress, and then I have a picture of the board here, so I'll just show you. Now, as you progress, you're going to have some choices to make which path you want to go. I think you start off by deciding, do you want to take the college route or do you want to go just straight into career? And if you take the college route, you're going to have more debt. But when career opportunities come up, you're going to have access to more stuff because you have the education to kind of back it up. And there was like some 3D components to it. You would spin the thing. You have a car, like you are a car and your little peg inside your car. And there's some areas that are like mandatory stop and you have choices to make. Do you want to get married? Do you want to have children? It's my understanding some of this stuff is you have to spin to decide as well. Now, it was republished recently in 2013. And the 2013 version kind of adds a bit more to it where there's investments that you can kind of build up on. And then there's different things like the spinner has like black and red and black areas on the inside wheel that kind of gives you different things that would kind of be dependent on that. But so that's how the traditional game of life works. Now, one of us has recently acquired a new game of life. And you know what? I saw this one a while back. It was at the liquidation store. And the game I'm talking about is the game of life, but the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel edition. Now, this is an IP game. It's based on the TV series, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which was amazing. This is about a lady in the 50s whose husband's having an affair, so they get separated, and she kind of all of a sudden has like to kind of rely on herself a bit more, and she becomes a stand-up comic, or she's trying to become a stand-up comic. It kind of happens, and it's hilarious. It's a really good show. And I saw it there and I was like, no, I don't want the game of life. So I left it there, but I kept thinking about it. And then when Cynthia asked, was like, oh, well, do you have the game of life? I was like, I should have picked it up. So our friend Cherry was there. She picked a copy up for me. And this is like based on, you know, the New York in the 1950s and the stand-up comic, and then you're going to do like comedy shows and you got to spin the wheel to see if it was a flop, if you're going to break even, if you're going to make a lot of money out of doing the show and stuff. And it has some like things kind of specific to the show, and then there's like, do you get divorced more than just get married, right? There will be like some cards, action card that'll come up. It's like, oh, this gentleman's hitting on you. It's like, well, that's not what you're here. So spin again. You know, there's different things like that. This is just basically from what I've watched. Now, today we're going to be doing our list of games that we would recommend over the game of life. Now, I've kind of taken different aspect of this game that I think would apply. And I suspect you've done the same, but I kind of went more with like one thing that the game of life does is it's definitely about your character development. So I kind of concentrate on that aspect in the game that I've picked. How about you? How did you decide?
Yeah, I kind of did like you are building a life. Some of them are kind of a little farther fetched.
Bit of a stretch.
Yeah, might be just a short part of your life, but some of it is a large part of your life. So
yeah,
You'll see as we chat about them what we thought was, a similarity or whatnot
Hmm.
to the game of life.
Perfect. Now, before we get to that, we always start by talking a little bit about a game that we've played recently. And we're going to start with you. So, what have you been playing recently, Carla?
So I had recently acquired the game Animal Rescue Team, and this one is kind of a remake of the game Thunderbirds, which was
Okay.
made, not sure the year, but it was Matt Leacock who did that. And I believe it was before pandemic, kind of the same system,
Okay.
just a
Yeah.
little bit different. But that one never really got talked about. There's a few content creators that have brought it up and they absolutely loved it, but it didn't kind
Nice.
of make the same boom as pandemic. So he actually remade the game, rethemed it, and put it into this game. And so it is a cooperative game. You can play it solo. I've done both, and they both work really well. And it does like have that pandemic feel where you're trying to do stuff and then some bad things happen. So you're kind of like two steps forward, one back. But it is different than pandemic, and how it feels different is you're basically trying to rescue all these different farm animals. You're even rescuing bunnies, cats, and dogs, and even a little mouse you might be going to a city to rescue, which is funny. But, and you all play as a character, so you have a role to play. And what was neat with this is the two characters that John and I played. We played a rope technician and a swift water specialist. And I didn't realize it till after the game. I looked and I read them carefully, and I'm like, oh my gosh, those are the two things we're both training for right now on our search and rescue
Nice.
team. So it was kind of neat to see like that in action on the board. But you have different, like a fire medic, you have like a veterinarian specialist, and all kinds of different roles that you can play. You choose one, and then you have a little meeple that you'll use. And then there's all these different vehicles on the board, and they start in certain places because you have a card that'll give you a setup of where everybody starts, where the vehicles start. And you have like a van, you have a truck, you have a car, an SUV, a motorbike, and a boat. And a trailer, because when you have to carry like horses and there's a tiger that you have to rescue, they need to be in a trailer. So these things will start all on different areas of the board. And then on your turn, you have two actions, and you can either move, and the way you can move is depending on the vehicle, the speed of the vehicle. So like a motorbike can
Okay.
move 4 spots, whereas like a big van can only move two. Now, if you're pulling something, if you're pulling a boat or if you're pulling a trailer, that cuts it down by one, so it's slower. So if you need to save a big animal, it's going to get take you a lot more time to get there if you don't happen to be there already. Now there's also these rescue houses. I don't know why I can't think of the name of them right now, but you have a small and a big one, and that's where you will take the animals once you rescue them. So you actually put them in your vehicle, and there's slots in the vehicle. All the little ones will fit in all the vehicles. Some of the larger ones, like dogs and pigs, they can fit in some of the vehicles, and like I said, the tiger, horses, and cows, they need to go in a trailer. So once you've collected them, and how you collect them is neat too, because you don't just go there and grab them. You go there, and they all have a value on them because the cards will be lined up along the side of the board, and every round a new one will come out. And then they slide down and they get closer to you losing the game. If you don't complete them by the time they slide off the board, you've lost the game. So you're trying to get those crucial ones that are getting closer to the bottom. You want to rescue those first. But they have a little number, a value on them. So it could be like a 6. Okay. So you could either just roll the dice and have no equipment or no specialists in that area. You have to have someone in that area, like the person whose turn it is. But you will roll these dice, and if you can roll the amount equal to what that number is, you've rescued them. Now, it's not a normal D6. I don't believe there's even a 6 on there. I don't even think there's a 5. I think it's 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you have timers on them as well. And the timers will just kind of speed up the game. So it just makes it that much more urgent because you're getting closer to having to complete these missions, which is another thing I'll explain. But The neat thing is on the card, there's also certain specialists that will help you rescue. So like if it's, if it's a water rescue and you have the water specialist with you, that'll count 2 pips. So if it was a 6, you'd only need to roll a 4. And then there's also this equipment that each specialist has, but you can also purchase if you're not playing one of those specialists. And that you have to carry those around in the vehicle too. So you have to have slots for the equipment that you need for the rescue. And when you have that, then you rescue them. If you don't have room, you got to dump the equipment, then put the animals in. You may have to go back and get that equipment if you need it. It's super neat. There's some other little tokens that you get when you do rescue the animal. It's like your bonus. You'll get maybe some money, or you'll get some reroll chits, or you'll get some little light bulbs that'll actually add to the pip. So if you needed a 5 and you only rolled a 4, you could spend that token and you would have rescued them. Now then you will take them back to the rescue house, one of them, and drop them off. And then at the end of your turn, you will flip a new rescue card, and it will either be a new animal that you are to rescue, or it will tell you to move the timer. And that means, closer to the end of the game. Now, this timer on the bottom goes along this track, and there's different things that can happen. You could land on something that'll let you empty out those rescue houses so that there's more room for animals to be put there, because you can't rescue an animal and then just set it down. Once it's rescued in the vehicle, it has to get to a rescue house or nothing. You can't take it out to even swap people around. You have to have a spot for it. And then there's another thing where you will flip, if it'll land on certain things, the timer, and you'll have to flip over these, I forget what they're called, but they're like crucial cards where bad things are happening, like extra bad things, like your boat needs to be repaired, so you can't use it until you've dragged it over to a certain spot, or 2 vehicles broke down, you can't use those now, or someone needs equipment quickly in this city way up there and you need to deliver it fast. And until you do, you can't do something. So there's a lot of like planning and puzzling to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? These animals are slowly coming down the board and they need to be rescued. They're going to be close to, fatality if we don't rescue them soon. Now, the other thing is you have these 3 missions at the bottom of your board. The first one is flipped before you start the game, so you know what that mission is, and you need to complete it before the timer gets there. That's another way to lose the game. Once you've completed it, you'll flip it over and then flip the new one to see what that mission is. And that is basically how you win the game, is by completing those 3 missions. And in the meantime, you're rescuing all these animals to get the tokens, to get money, to buy equipment, and do all these things. Now, the missions, I've only played on the easy level, which is using a level 1, 2, and 3. And it was still really puzzly, but it can go up to level 5. And I think like the hard one is, a 3, 4, 5. And those are like really, really tricky ones. But it's neat because in the solo version, you play with as 3 people and you take like individual turns, and then you can switch them out with other roles if you need to in the game. You can take an action to do that. Whereas you're playing with 2 people, you only have your roles, and that's who you use as your specialist. You can't switch them out. But it's really neat, and we played it first with John, and we kind of played a few little things wrong, and then I kind of perfected the rules and tried it myself a couple times, and it's really a really cool puzzle. I think it's a really good addition to the pandemic line, but with a different theme and kind of some different things thrown in there that add more strategy and more thinkiness to it. But it's really cool. Yeah, that's the one I've been playing, was the animal rescue team.
And the components, like you start in a little vehicle, that kind of works with the game of life as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Perfect for this one, this episode. Nice. That looks super cool.
Really cool too. Yeah.
Neat.
What about you? What have you been playing?
All right. So what I've been playing lately is a game that I've played with you and a game that I've played with Lee a few times, and that is Bullet. Now, this is Bullet Heart. I know there's a Star version one. And I have played this when it first came out, and I think it was like 2021, a long time ago. And I didn't care for it, mainly because we were playing 4 players. 2 of us or two of us got eliminated right away, and two of us got to play for like ever afterwards. And that was me. Like I got to play, and it was like at a Melcon I was hosting, and then we kept playing and playing, and the other two are like waiting for the next game. And it says on this 15 minutes, and it was like, it was not. It really drug, and mostly since two got eliminated. But turned out we must have played it wrong, because when we played it again, me and you, and then when I played it with Lee, this is a quick game. They mean it when they say 15 minutes. But it's really interesting, because what happens is you start with the bag and you pull 10 tokens in there. And it's real time. So everybody plays at the simultaneous play. So there's very little downtime, really. And you're going to start pulling tokens out of the bag, and it goes into the middle portion of your board, which is called your current. And if you pull out a red token that has 2, then you're going to count 2 blank space and place a token there. Now, if I get a 3 afterwards, I would count the 1 because there's nothing there. I skip the 2 because there's already 1 there, then 2 and 3, 2 below, so I would land up in the 4th space or whatever. And you're going to be placing tokens out, filling the board a little bit. Now, at any time that you have a pattern on your board that matches one of your card pattern, then you can activate the pattern to remove some of the token. Here where it gets interesting, because whatever you're able to eliminate from your current board goes into the pending pile of the next player. So the better you do, the worse the next round's going to be for the next guy, because all of those tokens are going to be added to their bag, plus the extra token they're going to have to draw as well. So that's interesting. Now, you also have some, like, they call it AP. I think it's action points that you can spend to move or manipulate what's happening to your board, or to draw extra pattern cards or different things like that. Now, there's like, I think it was like 8 different characters, but there was like the boss version of it too. So like 16 different characters that you could play as. And so everybody has like a bit of a different ability that you can do. But if you ever get a token that falls all the way to the bottom, you take a hit. So basically the bullets reached you and you've taken a hit. So then that's going to cover 1 of your life. Now, most characters have 4 life. The one I had here only had 2 life, but she had the ability to heal, which is why her life was less. But I'm pretty sure I ended up losing. So
you beat me.
Good.
Because remember, I was like way ahead of you, and I was like, I had no lives missing, like I had nothing.
Nice.
And you're like, it's just 1 more, and I'm gonna be gone. And then all of a sudden, in 1 round,
that's right. You got like 1, 2, 3.
I was like, what happened here?
The board gets filled up, right?
Yeah.
Like, and actually, if you look at the picture, if you're watching this on YouTube and you look at the picture, you had like 20 tokens coming to you there.
Yeah, that was the round, I think.
Yeah, but what
like,
happens too is each round you increase the complexity, so you pull out more tokens. Yep. So that's where it makes it that people don't play forever, because all of a sudden you're drawing 15 tokens to try to add to your board. You're gonna get eliminated. And we must not have been ramping it up when we were playing on our own and just drawing the same small amount. And that's why it took so long.
Yeah, why your game never ended.
Yeah. Yeah, but I had played this a long time ago, and it was one that was like, well, I don't know, because of that elimination issue. I was like, I don't know if I want that. And then I was like, you know what? I think I do. It's a cool game. And then we played it, and then I've played it 3 times now, and I just got this at Christmas, so I've played it 3 times in 1 month, which for me is pretty good. Also, could be because the majority of my collection is not accessible.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
so that could be part of it.
To a 12th of your games, so they're getting played more than once now. Maybe that's what you should do, is lock a bunch up every once in a while, and then you only have some to play.
No, I hate it. I am hating it. But yeah, so, but it was really neat. And I'm glad we played it again. And we played it multiple times. And Bullet is my recent play.
Nice.
All right. So now we're going to get in our top 9 games, better than the game of life. And we're going to start with number 9 with you, Carla.
All right, so this one I feel like is the closest to the game of life in a gamer
Hmm.
version. And by that I mean a more complicated Euro-y type of game. This one is The
Okay.
Pursuit of Happiness. Now, you don't actually move around a board like with a spin or a roll or anything like that. It's a worker placement game, but you use time as the resource, which is life, basically, right? I feel in
Right.
my life, time is more valuable than money. You can always get money at some point. You can never buy time. You only have so much time. So it's very thematic to this game. And there's different places you can go to. You can go study, you can go play, you can go interact, you can get a temporary job, make a bit more money, then you can spend money. Um, you can get a job, a better relationship, or sorry, develop a relationship. You can have multiple relationships in this game, and I mean, like marriages and things like that. I think too. Like I remember watching one content creator. He said he had a few on the go in the game or whatever, but it drains you. Like you get tired, which I'm sure would happen. God, I don't know how you'd have time for 2 partners, but
Oh my God.
I guess it's doable. You can rest in this game. You can do all kinds of things. Now, there's
That's
different
funny.
resources in the game as well, but the cards are the meat of the game, I would say, and they are different things that, like you'll have a partner and you'll have different activities and things and jobs, and then they always start at the top. You have three or four, maybe you have five on some of them, different levels of the on the card, and you always start at the top and then kind of work your way down, and you'll just mark it with a cube at what level you're at, and each level will give you more things. Some might cost more, some might cost less, depending on how much time you put into them, because your workers are your time. So they're kind of like little timers, and that's you only have so many, and then once it's spent, you can't spread yourself out anymore. So it's really neat that way. And you age in the game. So every round you get a little bit older, and it shows you on the top, like you start as a teen, you get to be an adult, and then you get to
An old
be
man.
old age and whatever, and then you do eventually pass, I believe, as well. But and that's how the game ends, and then you kind of just count up all your points. But it's really neat, and the cards are quite funny, and just like the different partners and activities you can do, and which way you want to go. Do you want to just focus on career and on money, and that's all you care about? Do you just want more happiness with relationships and activities, and be a little bit, loungier than some other hard workers? And I mean, you can win different ways. It's not just one way to win. So I
Okay.
haven't, I, when I've only really played this. I don't even know if I've played this multiplayer. I think maybe only solo. So it would be more interesting. Like it has a good solo mode too, but it'd be interesting, playing with 3, 4 players and just seeing the different
Yeah.
routes people go down. But they did um, publish this game with a big Kickstarter and a bunch of expansions, and there was like pets and all kinds of different things. I don't even know how many there were. There was quite a few little expansions that were added onto this. That they made a big box version, so I don't know if everything's in there, but that's kind of out there. I don't know how available it is, but it was a really neat little rendition on life. Like this is definitely very similar to that game, only so much better and so much more thinky and interesting, and quite a bit heavier. But yeah, that's my number 9, Pursuit of Happiness.
I love the look of that, and I really want this now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll stop shopping here for a minute.
Did you find
And
it anywhere? Is it
No,
even
I'm
out there?
not looking. Because somebody was posting a big list of games they were selling, and I was like, yeah, I'll grab this one. I was like, was that one part of it? So I
I don't
wanna.
ever see this on the used
Oh,
market. I mean, maybe it's been there, but I
yeah, yeah.
rarely have ever seen it
Because it looks
at all.
so good. That'd be on
Yeah.
my list if I had ever played this. All right, my number 9 is a bit of a stretch as far as a game of life, mainly because it's not really building a life, it's building a very small aspect of your life, but one that's very important, and that is your home. So this one is Dream Home. So to me, it kind of gives that feel, like it feels like it fits. And what's cool is the player board is your house. Like it has a roof, like you can see the house. And you're going to be drafting cards to add rooms into your house. So there'll be 2 basement cards. There's the main floor, there's the upper floor. Now you can't build a second level until you've built the first level. And it's kind of interesting because like you could be like, hey, we're going to do the kitchen. Well, how big do you want your kitchen to be? The bigger the kitchen, the more points you're going to have. So, but if you have like one kitchen card and you add a second kitchen card, now you have like a bigger kitchen. It's like, well, maybe you want to concentrate on the living room and then you should have a bathroom, so you can add a bathroom or the bedrooms and then it's so cool. And then there's like a playroom or game room in there. That's one like
Both. They have
know
both.
you want. So yeah, exactly. So you was like, but it's just so satisfying to add that. Plus, you're gonna be getting tools that you can acquire to kind of help you. And then there's roof as well. And the roof you can put it face down. And if you have all the same color roof, you're gonna have like bonus points for that. But you can't ever go back and look because you need to make sure you have enough. I think I've taken mostly brown roof. I think until the end, it's like, oh no, I really didn't at all. But it was just like to look closely at the details on the cards. It is neat and satisfying. I really enjoyed this game. I haven't played it in a long time now. It's been years. And I really need to pull this out again because this is one of the first one that I bought. Like I bought this one at my first fall con that I attended. And I really need to play it again because it's so cool. But yeah, so that is my number 9, Dream Home.
I just sent you the board game Oracle list of where you could buy
All right.
of Pursuit of Happiness.
Perfect.
So it's out there.
See,
It's still out
doing
there.
these episodes,
Yeah.
and then this podcast is really expensive.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, good choice. All right. Well, my number 8 is another one that is, I would say, similar. It's quite a bit lighter, though, than Pursuit of Happiness. It would be very light Pursuit of Happiness. Still not a roll and move like life, but you are building a life. And this one is called Adulthood. Now, this is strictly card play, but what's neat about this is you are trying to meet, you're going up 2 different tracks and you're trying to meet, that you're trying to get them to meet each other. So that's happened in other games. One is a happiness track and the other one is, I think, just success. I can't remember what the top track is called. I just played it yesterday and I still don't remember what that track was called. But anyway, so how you do this is you have this player board and it has 4 actions with 2 actions on each card slot, basically, top and bottom. One is your career, one is your like activities, one is kind of your good deeds, and then I'm blanking on what that blue one is there, but it's 4 different things. And you have these they're basically time tokens. You start with 8 and you choose how you're going to spend them on your board. You don't start with any extra cards. You have some in your hand, but none that are played out yet. You do also have a career option. You start out as a janitor. Everybody starts out the same. And then you can play that career eventually. Now, on your turn, you spend all those time tokens and they'll give you money or energy. They could give you, they can move you up on the happiness track. They can move you up on the success track, whatever that blue one is. I can't remember the name. But then you can also purchase cards from the middle. And depending where you take it from, the left one is free, and then depending on player count, the second one might also be free, and then it kind of costs money as you go, depending how many are out there. I am showing you a solo version of the game, so it's at the other side of the board. There's only 3 cards out there to choose from. But then you have these cards in your hand and you may play them. They will have a cost on them, and you might end up covering up some of the spots on your main board there and then upgrading them basically to a better action. You may be choosing a career and covering up that janitor, and then you're going to have a different action there with possibly more. It might cost you more time, but it'll give you more money or, success or whatnot. Now, there's points in the track that you're going to get to where you become grown up. And when you're grown up, then you can upgrade your career, get a promotion kind of thing. You can get married. You can do all kinds of things. Events will happen in the game at the end of every round that are good. Some are good, some are bad. That'll happen to everybody kind of thing. You also have these like goals that you're trying to reach by the end of the game, and they're kind of secret goals, so nobody knows what you're trying to accomplish. You have little tags on the top of the card, so you may be acquiring cards with those tags, and that might be one of your goals that you need to do. Some of the cards require tags in order to play them. So, there's a little bit of luck with pulling some of the cards out. You may never get a tag that you need, but there is a lot of the tags in the deck, so it should actually come out. It's just kind of a neat little card playing puzzle game where you're trying to figure out the best way to spend your time again, which I really like that concept of time as a currency. Because, like I said, to me, that is the most important currency in life is time, and it's just a neat little thing. There's a expansion that involves pets, and now I can't remember. It's pets and something else, and it's just like another little deck of cards that you add to the game, and maybe some more tokens. But it's supposed to be a really cool little expansion to add on to it, but it's a neat little game that plays very quick, like half an hour. I would say we had a 2-player game of this and it's done. So it's a neat little one to pull out where you still feel like you're going through a life, but there's funny stuff. The cards are really funny. There's little things that happen, little Easter eggs in there about different pictures that you would be like, oh yeah, that's from there, this is from that kind of thing. But it's a neat little game, and that's Adulthood, my number 8.
That one looks really cool.
Yeah.
I love the artwork on the card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat. Alrighty. So my number 8, let me get to it here. And that is Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. Now this is, it's a stretch if you say it really, Gloomhaven and Game of Life. But in Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion or Gloomhaven, like your character evolves as you go. You get more, you gain more items, you gain more experience, and then you kind of experience these different adventures, especially in between the games. Because you have the game where you're going to have the scenario, you have all the bad guys you got to go through, you defeat all the bad guys. And once you've complete the mission, pass or fail, then you're going to pull a card that's kind of like, hey, you're back in town and some sort of side quest happens. This person comes up and they're asking, oh, can you help me with this? Or and you can decide if yes or no you want to help. Or different things, or if you're going to do this, or if you're going to do that, or whatever. And then that's going to give you different things, and then you get gold. And then once you have the gold, you can go to the market and you can buy more items. So the in between the game experience is kind of what makes me feel like this is a little bit like the Game of Life, right, where you're going to evolve your characters as you play. This is a great game. Now, I personally have not finished the whole experience of Jaws of the Lion, and my intent is not to either. Because we've played this 19 times now. And personally, I find as you go, every time you get a new scenario, you get a new board, and it's like a map book. So you flip to the proper page for that particular map. And then you kind of go through. But it's fairly samey, right? Like it's,
Yeah.
you'll activate 2 action. One's going to be the top action. One's going to be the bottom action. Every single time Lee's going to walk away from where I can reach him to give him extra attacks. So I have to do the minimum version of my action because he moves faster than I move, and different things like that. So it just overall felt a little bit samey after playing it 19 times. But the fact that I've played this 19 times goes to show it's a great game. And will we revisit this? Maybe. And maybe not. But I've definitely got my money's worth out of it, and completely content with how this game was. It's an amazing game. It's a lot of fun. And it has that character development a little bit that I think the Game of Life kind of has its appeal, right? So that is my number 8, Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion.
Yeah, it does feel like you're kind of going through a life because you're developing a character kind of as you go, and it's a very interesting game, that's for sure. All right,
Have
my
you
number
played it?
7. Yeah, I played through the whole thing. I think solo. I believe I
Oh,
played
okay,
through the whole
cool.
thing. Yeah, a couple years ago. I was just looking around it. If I can't remember if I sold it or if I kept it because I played through the whole thing. I think I might have kept it. I think I bought a sticker repack, but I'm not seeing it right now, but I'll have to look. All right. My number 7 is our first crossover, and that's Dream
Oh.
Home. So this one, like you said, is just a neat little card playing game. Super fast, probably like max 45 minutes this game, but still feels like you get a little crunch in there because you're trying to puzzle out where to put your cards. And I know there's some neat things in there where you get these specialists that will help you or give you like in-game bonuses or end-game bonus. But the neat thing is too that you get bonus points for developing a house that makes sense. They call it like where having a kitchen and at least one kitchen and a bathroom on each floor and a bedroom, I think. Then you kind of get extra points for that. And I can't remember if you said that with the roofs, if you get your roof all one color, you get some real good bonus points, but you don't know because as soon as you get a roof, you flip it over and you can't relook at it. So it's like has a little memory, aspect to the game. And then you can get items. Some of the cards are items and they're just little cardboard cutouts of things. We have some on there right now. I can't see which ones that we have, but like you can get there's a little Christmas promo. You can get Christmas trees, but there's like a
It looks like you have an
house.
ice cream machine in the kitchen.
Ice cream machine? Okay. And then, oh yeah, we have the tree house there that you just put outside the house.
Yeah.
You can't play cards on top of anything unless there's a card underneath. So it's kind of like thematic that way where you have to, if you have nothing in the garage, you can't put anything above it until you either fill the garage with garage things or like a cellar or, something that would work in a garage. You can't build the top floor until you've put things on the main floor in order to put them above there. It's neat because how you're drafting the cards too is you can draft a card. You draft a row of cards or column kind of thing, and you can see the little house there. If you draft that column, you're going to take the house, which gives you first player, because you may know like I think you only burn some of those cards at the end of the round, so you might know, okay, that's still there and I need that card. And she knows I need that card, so I need to be first player to get that next time. But yeah, it's a neat little game. It's super quick and, probably it might almost be as quick as Adulthood, but not heavy at all, but a really neat one that it'll stay in my collection just because it's unique that way. And yeah, it gives me those life feels of when I was a kid. I loved the game of life back then. I didn't know any better. Didn't know there was better games out there, but that's my number 7, Dream Home.
Wonderful. Great pick. Obviously, I agree. All right. My number 7 is Fog of Love. So this one very much has the feel of the Game of Life, but instead of going through an entire life, you're going through a relationship. And one of the things that I thought was really neat with this game is it teaches you how to play while you play. So you'll kind of start, and then it'll come up with a card, and you'll read it, and it's like one of the rules that is explained, and then you go and kind of put that into practice. So the first time you're going to play the game, you just kind of start playing, and the game is going to teach you how to play as you play it. But like, you have different goals in this relationship you meeting, and then you come across these different things that happens, and then how you're going to resolve it. What are you going to choose to do? And then some things are going to give you like certain kind of icon, like aspect of what, I guess, kind of, I don't know what your term would be, but like values. But as an individual, you may have different values as a person that you're dating in this game, right? And you don't really know what each other's thing is, but you're trying to, and it's just kind of interesting. Like, it really definitely, and then according to the box, like, it plays a romantic comedy, like, so you have issues with your in-laws, or different things are going to come up. I have to play this again, because I played it the one time with Lee, and but we never really kind of revisited it again. And I think there's one thing that I wasn't really clear about, but it is interesting how it kind of mimics going through a relationship. Now, there's different variation depending on your personal preference of the type of relationship that you want to be in. And then, like, they have, so different characters, if you want 2 female, 2 males, or kind of, I think there probably is for more gender neutral as well.
They are.
Yeah. So, which I think is so great. And then there's tons of expansions with this, if you're into expansions, but like, there's one like for going through a pandemic, or kind of that will kind of add different scenarios that you might go through. Now, when we were sponsored by Games and Couples, this is one that they really promoted, because it kind of really mimicked the relationship dynamic. And then they really enjoy this game because they did a lot of board game plays as a way of communicating with your partner, which I think is great. And this game is so good, and it's just so unique. Like, I really haven't come across anything that's quite as unique as this one is. But I definitely need to revisit, and I think it does give a strong game of life feel and vibe to it. But so that is my number 7, Fog of Love.
Yeah, I've never played this one yet, but it's definitely on my list to play. You don't have access to this one, do you?
I don't know.
I don't remember seeing it.
I don't know.
When we were like, when I was crawling around your shelves looking to see what was available.
Like, we shifted some shelves so we could like squeeze in. And
I almost
get
got stuck in between 2.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The flooring's supposed to arrive this week, and hopefully, but then we still have to put the flooring, and yeah, it's gonna be a big job. Right. So it'll be a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks neat. It'd be neat to play that on Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
See if I can find it by then.
By then, yeah. There you go. Yeah. All right. Okay. So my number 6 is an older game. We kind of talked about this recently, and I think it was a couple episodes now. This is Stone Age. Now, this one was one of those, first worker placement games that I played. One of them. I don't know if this was the first, but you are building a life as a caveman, basically. Caveman, cave woman, cave person. And how you're doing that is you're building family, you're developing tools, and you're building different huts and things. So, has that kind of feel. You're going through a little bit of a life, quite a different life than the game of life, but it's a neat one and a unique way of doing it. And how you do that is you start with, I think, 5 workers, and you're going to place them out on the board before all the actions take place. So you take turns placing out workers, and you can put as many as you want at some of the locations. Mostly the resource collecting locations, because the more people you put there, the more dice you're going to get to roll to see how many resources you actually collected. And each resource has a pip value. wood being or food being the lowest one, and then it goes to like wood, brick, stone, and gold is the hardest. You need at least a 6 in order to get 1 gold. So if you only have one person there and you don't roll a 6, you're kind of out of luck unless you have tools to bump it up. But it's neat because as you place out your workers and then it comes to you, you get to do all your actions with your workers. So you roll all your dice. You may have moved up the wheat track, which is like guaranteed food every round because you have to feed your people every round too. This was probably the first game I played where that was a mechanic in a game, and I was like, that's kind of neat because it's like you have to do that, right? So you got to think about, okay, I still need to collect food and have enough for my kids and stuff, but you still want to go out and spend those workers to gather other things to help you get other cards and whatnot. You also gather these cards that you will go out and gather with your workers, and a lot of them are like a set collection thing that you want to have unique cards. But also on the bottom of a lot of them are like a end game multiplier, and it depends. Some of them will multiply, depending how many babies you've made. It might multiply the wheat track you went up, or how many tools you have, and things like that. So that you can kind of design your own end game kind of scoring that way. So I really like that too, because it's not just like, okay, here's how you score. No, you're going to score depending what you have. And I really thought that was an interesting way of making a game and sort of making the players all be responsible for their scoring. So it's one of those evergreen games that'll always stay in my collection. And, I will introduce that as sort of a second step game to beginners. I had some beginners over yesterday, and I was thinking I had messaged out in our group chat. I'm like, okay, what should I introduce them to? Like I think sometimes I try to introduce harder ones than what they can take from the beginning. So I didn't bother bringing that one out. I did some really light ones, but I feel like that one is a next step game once we've gotten people interested in, some of the lighter games you're showing them. But it's fun every time I play it, and I pull it out every once in a while, and it's always a good time. It's never one of those like, oh, I don't feel like setting it up or playing it. No, it's always when someone thinks of it, I'm like, yeah, let's play it. Let's do it. And that's my number 6, Stone Age.
Yeah, good pick. And that one didn't cross my mind when I thought Game of Life. So, all right, my number 6 is another game that kind of definitely has that character development. And that is Legend of Novus. So with this one, the way that you play is like based on the map. This one is my fantasy novel into a board game. And you start on the map and you travel. You go wherever you want. You're going to do different things. Depending on where you go, different things can happen. But as you travel, you're going to roll the travel dice and see if anything happened during your travel. Did you encounter any beasts? And in the beginning, you might, like, your best bet is to run away. Like, if it's like, holy crow, this one's too big. Run away. Like, because you haven't evolved yet. Now, as you get to different or defeat different monsters and you get into different cities, you can find items. You can sell some of those items because not everything you find is going to be suitable for yourself. And you have a race and you have like abilities, and some is like, oh, this is, you can wear this if you are an elf, let's say, or something like that. And I'm not. So then I was like, okay, well, I can't equip this. Obviously it's not going to fit, but I can sell it and it has a gold value. And then you can sell it, then you can purchase different things. And what's neat is like you have like your board that shows what you're putting on. Like, say, okay, well, I found a weapon, but it's an axe. I have to wield it with 2 hands. So I'm going to take that on, but now both my hands are used up, so I can't add any more. So, oh, I found these boots. I can put that on. Or I found some sort of tunic or armor or different things, and I can put that on. And you definitely develop your characters as you go. You also need to develop your experience level. And in order to win the game, you got to get your experience level up to a certain amount, then go to one of like the bigger location and attack and defeat the big monster. And if you can successfully do that, then you win the game. But in the meantime, you're just traveling, trying to build yourself up so that you can go and do that. I thought this one is my favorite, one of my favorite fantasy themed game, because it gives me such a, like, it feels like you're reading a book, like a fantasy novel, like it's that kind of experience, but in a board game. And like, you definitely develop your character in this one, which is why I've put it on the Game of Life list. But that is my number 6, Legends of Novus.
And isn't this a local designer too?
Yeah. So Wesley Woodbury was living in Olds when
Okay.
Olds, Alberta, when he developed this game. He's moved now, but he's still in Alberta, but he's just not in Olds anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you introduced this game to me, and this was my first ever fantasy dungeon crawly type of game ever. And that
Mm-hmm.
spiraled me to, like, I played Gloomhaven, I played Anomia, and Set a Watch. I remember when you pulled it out that night, and I was like, I don't know if I want to play this. And then I'm like, no, I'm a mature adult. I can play games that I don't love. So we played it, and I was like, what is this whole new world here? And so then Ashley was like, okay, if you like this, then you better play Set a Watch with me. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then I loved that. And I'm like, I've got
Nice.
everything almost from Set a Watch. And it's really spiraled me. So if you can get access to this game before we go to that mountain retreat, bring it. We should play
Oh
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
Sounds good. We'll see.
yeah,
We'll see. Hopefully.
that's
Sounds good.
2 months. So hopefully we can
Yeah.
find it. Or we'll go on
Yes.
a manhunt in your boxes and look for it.
Yes. Hopefully at least we'd have like one of the rooms. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the time frame is, but I'm hoping to
I may have to
access
come
my
help you
collection
set
by
up all
then.
your games after.
Oh
When the
yes,
time
please
comes.
do. That's just a daunting task. I'm gonna need an army to help me.
Oh, that sounds like fun to me.
Perfect. We'll set a party.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that was my number 6.
Okay.
So we're now into number 5.
Yes. Okay. My number 5 this is a life one. It feels like life, but there's a bit of sadness in this one because there's people that pass in this game. This one is called Village. Now, this was an older Euro. I can't remember the year it was made, but they have remade this game. This is the old copy, which I have and I love. I don't think I would replace it, which is rare for me because I usually will get
Yeah.
the prettier version now, but I really like the old version of this game. And I don't think it's a whole lot different than the new one, but I do have 2 expansions with it that I do play with all the time, so it
Oh,
feels like
nice.
a waste to just go get the big box and then get rid of this one. But what you do in this is you are farmers basically, and you start with certain family members, and they have like a one. I think they're all ones. They have a little one on them, like a one dot,
Yeah.
I believe. And then so that's the workers you start with. Now you can use them. It is a worker placement. You will go out to a spot, and depending where it is, you can do certain actions. You can send out people to apprentice in areas that make it easier for you to go next time and collect resources, or you can just go straight there and pay a higher amount to get a certain resource you want. You can go and send some family members into the church, and they're kind of there forever, but they will like gain you points depending how they move up in the church, kind of thing. You can send some out traveling on a boat. You need to hire a captain. That might be from an expansion. Without the expansion, it's just traveling, and you're going traveling around. Can go to a market and sell certain things if you've gathered them, like tools, animals, and things like that. But as you go, every action you do costs time. There's that time mechanism again. And you will move around this track on your board. And once you pass this certain point, one of your workers passes, and you have these little graves all over the board. There's some that are like, you'll see this book on the side, and that's kind of like they'll be put down in history, and so you're trying to get them in that book. But if that area, like if they were apprenticing as I don't know, like wheat makers. I don't know what they're actually called, but um, that line's full, then you have to just put them down in a nameless grave. It's very sad. The ones that I have the expansion for the pub, and there's like a spot for like the guy in the pub who dies, like he's a terrible alcoholic or something. But anyway, there's different spots, and you're trying to get him in there because they'll give you good end game points. You the thing is, you can do all these really high time actions, but then you're gonna kill off your people a lot quicker. So you have to kind of slow down and go, okay, well, maybe I'll do some of these little ones that only give me a little something. There's like a government building kind of thing where you can kind of move up in there and they'll give you points or little bonuses that you can do. It's a really thinky game because you feel like you're. Oh, you can also take black cubes because every time you go to a place, you have to grab a cube, and there's different colors, and they mean different things for different actions that you're doing. But some of them, there's black all over, and when you grab one of those, it's like a plague cube, and it is bad. It's bad news, and it adds time, or I can't remember if it actually speeds up time or what the bad thing that it does, but it's quite thematic, and it kind of feels like a little gloomy in the olden days because some people are like, oh, this sounds terrible. Like you're just, doing some actions and then dying. But it's just how you puzzle it out and figure out, okay, how can I use all these people? Because you go to another place where you get married and have more kids, and then they come out and they'll have like a 2 on them. And then you'll use them kind of thing as workers, and then you pull out a 3, and you're trying to get those high workers out and possibly have the higher workers in like the apprenticing jobs and things, because every time someone dies you have to pull the young or the oldest one out. So if you have some ones working, they're gone, and you're like, oh, now I gotta apprentice my older one. So it's a really neat puzzly game, and yeah, that's my number 5, Village. Have you played this one?
I have not. That's
No?
hilarious.
I
The
think
theme
you would
looks
like it.
interesting
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wonderful. So my number 5 is a game that actually I played with you fairly recently, within the last 6 months anyways, and that is Vantage. So we crash land onto a planet. We're separating from our team, but we can still communicate with them. And we have a goal that we're trying to accomplish. And this planet is habited. There's different things that we're going to come across, different people that we're going to come across. And you got to maneuver and travel, but you don't know the planet. You don't see what's going on. And then you're going to decide, okay, well, you're going north, like which way is like, okay, and then it has like a number, or do you want to explore where you are right now? And you'll have tokens. Well, it's, I guess, yeah, you'll collect tokens. There's dice as well, but like different to activate different action on the locations, or while you're traveling, you need to have those necessary token to spend. So, and they'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to search here. I'm going to ask the people that are here, or different things. And then you kind of build this whole thing. Now, this is definitely kind of a exploration type game, which I have a lot that I really enjoy. What I like about this one is that it's not campaign. It's scenario based. Every time you finish, you reset everything and you start again, and you're going to land somewhere else, and you're going to discover different things. And there's a lot to this. This is a big, heavy box just because of all the cards that's in there. It's really well organized, so that's kind of cool. And then you kind of have like a card that marks where your last card was, so you replace it and go to the next card, and it's spaced by numbers. And it's app free, so you don't need an app to play this, which is good because we played this while you were camping. And so didn't need to have Wi-Fi access. It's completely dependent. It's like self-contained, which I mean, I don't mind the app-driven game. I like them, but this was nice as well for its own thing. I especially love, and I'm going to say this again, that it's scenario based and not campaign based because I have such a commitment issue with campaign games. Because by the time you revisit again, it's like, okay, well, I haven't played it in so long because I want to play different things, and now I have no idea, or I couldn't commit to the same group
Right.
coming again, and like it's just, but this definitely doesn't have that. It's kind of, but it's interesting because we can compare, like, and it's so easy to get caught up on these little side mission that has nothing to do with the main goal you're supposed to do. It's like, well, hold on, I'm helping these people. Like, and it's like, well, we need to find this thing and build a ship or whatever it is that our main mission was during that game. But it was interesting and it was satisfying. And there's like lots of books. Because as you go, say, okay, well, then you have to find the correct book. Say, okay, well, this is what happens. What do you want to do? Do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And it's going to cost you these many tokens, or, so it was neat and I enjoyed it. And that is my number 5, Vantage.
Yeah, this is a neat one. And like you said, with the whole campaign thing, I feel like if they would start making legacy games, I mean, there is a group that people that do love that, but for us non-committals, 10 max, I could totally do a 10 max campaign. I could get, someone to go through that. But after 10, like I had ammonia, and it was like a 35 game thing. And once we got to, like, I think we were at, almost 20, I was like, I'm done. Like it's getting too samey then. Like it couldn't change that much. So it's like,
right.
I'm getting bored with that, doing the same thing. And that's just for maybe it's people like us who love the variety, but I am going through my solos, campaign ones that are, a 10 game thing, and that's doable. It's those, 20, 30 where they tend to scare people off, I think. So, and it's happening. Like they are coming out with ones like, I know the new Mountain Goats Legacy is coming out, and I think it's only like a 10 game kind of thing and super quick. But yeah, I get you with the whole 20 game campaign. It's like, oh, I don't know if I could commit to that. Yeah, I get it. All right. My number 4 is a bit of a stretch, but it's part of your life. It would be, a couple days of your life, maybe, if you were going hiking. But it does give me the feel because it has that rondelle, which is a move thing. And like in the game of life, you move around, you can't go backwards. This one, you're going forward, collecting things, but you're basically just going on a I can't remember if it's 3-4 round day hike.
Which game is
Parks.
it?
Parks.
Okay.
This is Parks. So I love Parks. I've owned this from the very beginning. It's another one I haven't purchased the new version of, which also looks pretty, but I think the original version is absolutely gorgeous too. I love the art in this game. Just the little animal meeples, and every card is so unique. The park cards are just beautiful. They're just pieces of art, basically, works of art. Yeah. But what you're doing in this game is you have this little hiking track that you move up, and every round you add another spot there, and you shuffle them all up. So and so they'll all be different. Like the route will be different every round. And you will collect resources. You could take pictures, and pictures are points. They give you an extra point. You can visit parks, and visiting parks is where you will go up to those large tarot-sized park cards, and you will either reserve it if you don't have the resources you need, or you will visit it and basically acquire the card, and then you'll have the end game points on there. You have some, I think they're called year cards, that will give you the goal you're trying to reach for the end of the game, and trying to collect so many different icons kind of thing. Which means, like, on the park cards, like the payment is usually in like trees, sun, water, and you might have a goal card that says you need at least 6 cards that need trees on them or something, and so you're going to try to visit all those parks. You it's a bit of a race because you're trying to collect a bunch of things, but also get to the end to get the first spot that you really want. There's a couple different spots you can end at. You can end at just getting some gear and getting a discount on gear because you're the first one there. You can just take the first player token if you're really wanting, some things at the beginning of next round. You could be the first one to visit a park because there's only 3 cards out there and you're all gunning for them. So if you really want one, you need to get to the end quick. You have 2 hikers and they all move in the same direction. You can land where somebody else is, but then you have this little camp token that you need to flip over, and you can't do that again until one of your hikers gets to the end. Then you can refresh that token. So there's a lot of blocking in this game, especially if it's a higher player count, because if someone's there, you're kind of out of luck unless you want to, use your camp token. It's just a very pretty game, and it's a excellent production because they all, like, the base game comes with board game trays for all the resources, and they're shaped like a little tree branch kind of thing. And there's 2 of them, so you can, which is nice because it's separated for you. So whether you're playing with 2 or 4 people, you can place one, besides those 2 and one beside us, and then you don't have to be reaching over and grabbing all these different things. It's
that's so thoughtful.
Yeah. This is another evergreen for me that I'll always keep. It's a theme I love. It's a beautiful production, and it's a fun game. And it can go different ways. You can play this with new people and just play a relaxing game, but you can play with gamers, which I have, and it's a different game because there's a lot more blocking and taking cards of what the other people want and things like that, whereas you could just play it like you're not even looking at what other people have, and you're going along a hike and collecting things and trying to complete your stuff. So I like that about it, as well as that it can, depending on the level of play, it can be a very mean, tricky game, or it can just be a really relaxing, walk in the park kind of game. And that's my number 4, parks.
Good pick. I mean, it'd be longer aspect of life if you consider how many times you've been on hikes.
Yeah, true.
So.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
All right, my number 4 is the Dark Quarters. So this one plays a little bit like Chronicles of Crime, where there's some sort of murder mystery that you need to solve, but I think this one, and it kind of plays very much like Destinies as well, because there's like that mechanism as well. But there's a lot more background story to your character than Chronicles of Crime does. So you are part of an arcane investigator group. So we get called in whenever the police can't figure out what's going on because there's some weird voodoo stuff going. And this is when we get brought in. So it's definitely has a dark theme to it, right? So you come across a corpse that has some sort of weird symbols carved into their chest or whatever, like cut up into their chest. So it has that dark and that kind of voodoo dark magic theme to it. So be aware of that. But, and then you kind of decide how you want to spend this a bit more like Chronicles of Crime. So be like, okay, well, this comes up. It's like, well, we really should go and visit that pub based on what we've heard. But then you do kind of want to swing by your apartment or whatever to kind of collect some items because you got your aunt's calling you for something. Like there's a lot of different little side stories to it that really builds up the life of your character, and you have to choose and decide how you're going to want to do things, or if you're going to be successful in what you're trying to do as well. So that has a whole aspect to it. And you have like the map to kind of put tokens of different places where you can go visit, but then the location are cards on the outside of the maps, more like Chronicles of Crime is. But then whether you're going to be successful or not, you're going to roll the dice, and then and depending on the total that you get, how many tokens you have that's before that token, kind of more like Destinies as well. So it's a kind of a neat mash of both of it, and a neat darker kind of theme. And there's just thing about, like, this one is app driven. You can pause your game. Like you can be like, okay, we'll pause. And it's like, okay, well, how many of this do you have? And the app's going to keep track of where you're at. And then kind of be like, hey, you're starting again. Make sure you grab all this. This is where you're at. And so it's very neat to, it's very neat. I personally enjoy the theme. I enjoy the gameplay. I definitely need to play this some more. Like it's a fairly recently added to my collection. Me and Lee played one game of it, but it's very interesting. And that is my number 4, The Dark Quarter.
So is it just one long game and then you kind of save your play in between, or how does that work?
You save your play in between, but there's multiple, like you can, it's not just one game. Like there'll be multiple things for you to solve as you go. But I think it's more campaign than scenario based. Like it's going to build up on the story.
I see. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's neat. All right. My number 3, I've talked about recently. I can't remember which episode that was, but this one is called Last Will. And you are living a weird life because you're trying to get rid of everything you have and get fired if you have the expansion and just end up being the worst person you possibly could be. So it's a reverse of life, I feel like. It's instead of gathering things and, becoming great in society and having lots of friends, you're trying to lose it all. Kind of like the Brewster Millions story where your uncle gave you money and you're trying to spend it. And if you spend the most and have the most debt, then you will be the winner of the game. But the mechanics are so neat in this too. This is a Vladimir Suchi game where this guy makes such different games. All of his games are so completely different. Underwater Cities, this he's made one about horses now. Evacuation, like they're all just all over the place. They don't like he doesn't usually do similar themes, which is very cool because most designers kind of stick to their area, not all of them. There's a lot that are doing that now, but this one, that's what he does. So this is basically a worker placement and card tableau building game. And so you have these little, they're called not worker boys, but I think like they work for you and they go out and get you things. And so those are
like
the workers you're
boys?
Placing. Yeah, I don't know. That's not what they call them, but it's something like that. But that's basically what it is. And so they're these little hats, little top hats. Those are your workers.
Oh, okay.
And so the first thing you do is you go and you place on this track what type of action selection you're going to do for that round. So I might go somewhere and have 4 actions, but I can place like so many workers. And so it usually goes high action, low workers, or high workers, low actions. Now you really have to balance that because depending where you go on this track, if you're over more to the left, you're going to be a first player to choose once the worker placement starts. So you have to kind of choose wisely because like the juicy ones might be over at the right, but then you're going to be last. And if there's a card out there you really want or an action, you're going to need to go more to the left. So once you've done that, then you kind of go through that and see who was first, and they will take a worker and place it out on the board. And there's different things you can go to do. You can go to collect cards. You can collect, what else? I'm thinking here. This is showing the tableau. Oh, you can go and sell or buy things. And the neat thing is you can adjust the market. So because you want to buy high and sell low, which sounds so backwards, but you might want to manipulate the market so that when you go buy this house, it's going to be super expensive. And then it will depreciate a bit. But then when you go to sell it, it's going to be cheap, super cheap, so that you're losing all this money. You want to lose as much money as you can. You might go to a spot where you just go to the opera and it's just spending money. You can go to all these different spots, but then you're going to do your card play. And it's neat because you have this little player board that has slots for cards. And it takes an action to play a card, but then you have on your card tableau different things. You might have some free actions that you can like pull down cards. and you can, which will let you go out for dinner. And if you take your horse with you, then you spend more money. So because I mean, it's going to be expensive to bring a horse into the restaurant and stupid things like that. You might, bring a lady and she's really like needs all this stuff. So you're like, yeah, I need those high, what's the word? They need so much stuff, the high maintenance women or whatever. And
Right.
to bring her because she needs all these fancy things. And it's just so funny. You have like friends that will help you out and they'll give you more actions. So you might have a guy that you put as an action, so you take away an action, but then he gives you 3 more. So you're like, okay, cool. And then I can play more cards. You can replace cards on your tableau, and it's a thinkier game. I would say it's, it's up there in heavy, not super heavy, but because of all the different, trying to figure out what actions, what workers, how many I'm going to do and all that, and what cards I'm going to play. The tags on the cards can add to make things more expensive. So then it's great because I need to, buy a ring. You get engaged. I need to buy a ring and champagne and all these things. And if you have all these cards, you can add to that one action. It's just a really cool little game. And I had recently acquired Prodigal's Club, which is a sequel to this, and it's even funnier, but you can actually use that as an expansion to this game, which I haven't tried yet, but it just makes it more it would make it a longer game, but it would be really interesting, like epic kind of life where you're trying to build and become a total waste to society. So it's a reverse of the Game of Life, but it's a neat one. And that's my number 3, Last Will.
That's interesting. I still haven't played this one. I really need to.
Yeah, you need to play that one.
All right, my number 3 is Destinies. So the Destinies is kind of like the prequel to Dark Quarters. And this one, I really enjoyed this one. So it's more of a fantasy, not even fantasy, like olden days style, maybe a little bit fantasy, but you have the map and it's all these cards. And as you travel, you can flip the map card over because it's all like foggy. Then you flip it over, then you can kind of clearly see. And then there'll be different things. Oh, this character is there now, or this person is there now. This one is app driven as well. And what's kind of cool with this one compared to other app driven game is it's not one person that controls everything and everybody else is just spectators for the game. The app gets passed around because you do your own decisions on your own turn.
That's neat.
And the very interesting thing as well with this story is we all have a vantage point, a different vantage point of the same story. So we're all interacting with each other. We all need different goals because we're trying to accomplish our main destiny. There's 2 paths to it. We can do it this way or we can do it this way. So with me, it's like I can either recruit people to help me out or I can get these different items to kind of do a spell that would give me the thing. And there's something happening and we all see different aspect of it. And in our story, just not to give too much away, but there was a monster that killed something. And I know that the monster is not really a monster. It's a relative of mine. And you know that the monster killed somebody in your family. You need to destroy that monster. I need to convert and kind of do a spell so the monster is reverted back to its human form. Or like we all have different aspect and different goal of the same story, but we understand a different aspect of it. So that, first of all, was so clever and it was so interesting. And, it was like in the end, I didn't win, so they killed my son, so whatever it was.
That was me and Kayla, right?
Yes, it was, but like, so, and then, so the story's going to be different all the time. And we get different aspect of it and we collect different items. And sometimes be like, okay, there's 2 of this. It's like, well, Kayla bought it and Carla bought it and there's no more. So I can't fulfill my destiny this way. So I'm going to have to work on it this way now because you can get into each other's way. We're trying to complete our destinies first and it's going to affect the other people, but we're not like playing against each other so much. We don't know what they're trying to do. And we're all in the
Well, I
same
do know,
area. Yeah,
yeah, in this, with the 3 players, my two destinies, one is the same as yours and one's the same as hers. And then
kind of
yours
requires,
is
yeah,
one's the same. So we each have a similar one, but we don't know which one we're each going for. So
yeah,
I could be going for the same one as you, but then Kayla's on her own doing something different. So it's like you kind of don't want to do that. You want to be doing your own. So if you could
yeah,
figure that out, then you can switch over to the other one and it would be easier to do it that way.
yeah.
But yeah, it's very neat. I do
It
like
was
this
so
one.
interesting because it's very story driven. Like you go to a location, what do you want to do? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And then you kind of roll to see if you're successful. And you have these little tokens on your board that you're trying to move to lower location because as you roll your dice, and you can bring like bonus dice along as well, then the total value of what you've rolled is where you go, and you get to count every token that you would have passed for that particular type of test. And it's like the blue, green, or the red. I think is one is like knowledge, one is strength, and one is agility or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And so the more of the tokens are moved down, the easier it's going to be to complete them. And then you're going to say, okay, well, I attempted, I was able to pass 2 tokens, and you're going to enter that in the app and then see if it was enough to be successful, what the result of it is going to be. It was just so interesting. I really, really enjoyed this one. And that is my number 3, Destinies.
Yeah, this is a really neat game. It's very unique. And there's a bit of a memory aspect too, because when you go to a location, there might be something I need there. So I got to pay
Right.
attention. You know, I might not know what you got, but I may know what you didn't get. So you kind of have to be like, okay, what's going on there? Like you can't be like flaking out during other people's turns. You gotta pay attention. Me and John played it, and every once in a while I'd be like, "Wait, what did you get there?" He's like, oh, "I'm not telling you." I'm like, "What?" It's like, "Pay attention." Like, okay, I gotta focus on this. So it's yeah, us 3 have to play this again because I think
Yes.
we had gotten that we killed that your son or whatever, but me and her
Yes.
were going for the same thing, and I think I was on the road to success, and then she swooped in and won. I was like, "What?" But it can
Yeah.
happen because you just when
Yes.
you least expect it, you don't know how close anybody is to their destiny. So it's a neat one. Yeah, good call.
It's
I
such
didn't
a
even think of this
well-designed
game.
game.
Yeah, but
Funny.
it is definitely a building a life. All right, my number 2. It has another different theme, but it is building a life. Mostly you're building up a reputation because you are in the game Obsession and you are living basically Downton Abbey and you're trying to,
Yes.
have the most prestigious family and build up your reputation because that reputation is everything, right? Back in Victorian days. And
Right?
while you're doing that, you're gathering guests and characters and you're building a life, which is different activities and things on your board. And these represent tiles. So everybody starts with a set of tiles, which are actions. And it's kind of a worker placement, but you only go to your own spot and you choose the tile you're going to use to do that. So you take the tile and you put it up there, and you will most likely have to play workers there. Now, your workers are your like butler, your maid, your lady's maid, your valet, all kinds of different things. Some of the cards require them. So you have to use them and they have to be available because once you've used them, they go into a like a rest area where they can't be used next round. They can be used the round after. But a lot of these ladies need a lady's maid. They can't do anything without their maid. A
Of
lot
course,
of the
don't be
men,
ridiculous.
yeah, it's just, I just can't do it. But so you have to, maybe hire more of them. And there's ways to do that. But it's neat because once you go up there and you put your workers down and you've played out the cards, because each of the tile will say you need like at least 3 gentry, or you need exactly 3 gentry to play there. So that can be either lady or gentleman. Um, you can play, or it has to be 4 gentlemen. So you have to have 4 gentlemen in your hand. And then you'll play them down with their workers that you are needed for them to do an activity. And then they'll have little bonuses on their cards, and you'll collect those. And those could be money, reputation. They could even be gathering more guests, which is more cards, which is nice because it comes straight into your hand. Because once those cards have been played, they go into a discard pile. So you gather those things, and then you go to the market and you hopefully can buy more tiles because you're wanting to gather more tiles and build up your estate, basically, because at the end of each round, there's, depending how long you play the game, there's either 3, 4, or 5 rounds, I think. At the end of each round, somebody is going to get to invite these, like the Fairchild. So either the female or the male Fairchild, and you get to choose whoever is the winner, and they will get that card into their hand. And it's a real big juicy card that's going to give you lots of bonuses when you play it. But how you do that is you can play blindly or you can play openly, knowing which type of tile is needed for the end of that round, and meaning whoever has the most of that tile, most value on that colored tile. So if I'm developing all my pink tiles and the pink card is up and I have a value of 6 and Mel has 7, she will win that, and she will get to choose a Fairchild and bring it into their hand and play that in the next round. Now, there's another action that you can do. You can hire more workers because you're going to need a lot of them. You can gather all your cards back, which is kind of a, I think it's a reset. I can't remember what the action is, but you'll take them all back and then you have all your cards back in your hand. Some of the ladies get extra points if they're with a gentleman, and certain little like thematic things like this. Now, this designer, this game, he produced himself, and it was kind of a slow burn. It got really big by word of mouth. This did not get promoted by content creators and whatnot early. This got promoted by word of mouth and then content creators. And he has followed this game all along. This has been at least 10 years. And he's upgraded things and he's added things and some expansions, and he's always made them reasonable and affordable. He doesn't try to gouge anything, and if you ever have questions about his game, he's there to answer questions. He's just a phenomenal guy, and he runs an excellent Kickstarter campaign, and he has developed and literally loved this game, and this is the only thing he's done. He might be doing something else, but he puts his heart and soul into this game, and it's just a beautiful production, and it's just a lovely game, and it's so different. Like, I can't really think of another game that plays like this.
No, it's very unique, right?
It's very unique. I wouldn't advise playing a 5-player count. We did that once. It took like 4 or 5
It took a
hours.
long time.
And it was like, oh my gosh. So that, and it does go up to that player count, but I wouldn't advise it. But it is an excellent 2-player game, even, 3, 4. I would say 3 max, and it's perfect. But it's a fun game, and if you can get the accents going, and
Yes.
it's just that much more fun, because I do love that era of people, the Victorian era, and it's beautiful, and I love it. And that's my number 2, Obsession.
Yes, that one just missed my top 9.
Yeah.
Because I tried to put it the one that was more like on character development, and so it just didn't quite make it. That was my number 10. All righty, my number 2 is Legacy: The Testament of Duke de Crecy. Now, this one, warning, it is a table hog. You will need like the whole table to play this game. But this is it's Victorian era as well, but you're building your lineage, right? Like you're gonna have your kids, you have children, and you're gonna marry them off, and you're trying to build a prestigious family by marrying with the right people. So maybe there's certain career types you want in your family, like you're looking for a scientist or artist or different things, and bringing that into your family is going to bring you better reputation, and you're going to host balls, to kind of help this out. And so, and some are like arranged marriage, it's like you can marry them off, have arranged marriage with your friends, so you can kind of control who they're going to be married, and whether they're going to be a kid or a boy or a girl, and there's different aspect of it. So it's kind of very interesting. Some aspect are desirable, some aspect are less desirable, and you're trying to build this great family tree. If you ever played this on the solo mode, which I believe I have once, either I've played it once as solo or I was looking into it solo and never actually played it, but it's the
You can play
reverse.
solo.
So with the solo mode is you're starting with yourself and you're looking in your parentage and you're trying to find a rich relative. So you're going to build your family tree going backwards instead of marrying off. You're going to try to find the connection and you're trying to find like a prestige member in your family in your history. It is such an interesting game. It's all cards. And well, I mean, there's a bit of a board, but it's mostly card that you're, but as I mentioned, morning, it is going to take a lot of the table. I can't even imagine playing this at 4 players, how much tables you would need. Like you would have to kind of stack the cards more. Because, you know, like you're going to have your kids and your kids are going to have kids. So you have your grandkids and you're nosy. Like you're trying to arrange the best marriage, like multiple generation down to get the best prestigious family. But it's just a very interesting game. The artwork is neat. The concept is funny. The solo mode was a neat concept as well. And I really enjoy this one. It's just kind of, you're not just building your own one life, like you're building beyond generation, and it's the full legacy you're trying to control. And that is my number 2, Legacy, the Testament of Duke de Crecy.
Yes, this is an awesome one. This one was on my list, my paper list, and then when I transferred my paper list to Pub-Meeple, I somehow missed it. But I still thought it was on my list because when we were talking about pictures for the games, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to send you this one. And then I look, I'm like, it's not on there. What happened? So it should be on my list as well. But
it would have been, yeah.
This is
nice.
a really unique game. It's very sprawling for sure. You need a lot of space for this game.
For sure.
But it's a neat one. Good choice. Glad you got to talk about it so that it's on here. It's on our list. All right, my number 1 is one of my favorite games of all time, and this is Grand Austria Hotel. How I am relating this to the game of life is just the fact that you're running a hotel. This is your life, basically, and you're bringing in guests and you're trying to satisfy them and feed them. And it just kind of feels like you kind of go through, like you don't really go through time periods, but it just still has that feel to it where it just kind of feels like it's a time, like not a moment in time, but like quite an era sort of thing. And what you're doing in this is, like I just said, welcoming these guests, but you're acquiring food and drink. And how you do that is you draft these dice on the board, and you will hopefully take resources you need, and they can go straight onto your guests, the cards that are at the bottom. And once you complete those cards, then you're going to send them to a room, and you get to flip one of those room tiles matching the color of their table. The dice selection in this is so neat because there's 2 spots where you can gather the food, and then there's one where you can, prepare more rooms because you don't have access to all the rooms. You need to prepare them, which you get the tiles for the color of the room. You may have to pay for them because every floor you go up, it's a little bit more expensive. You can go to another space to hire staff because you're going to need all these staff. You're going to need waiters and all these different things, and they will give you possibly bonuses depending on what dice you draw. They might give you an instant action of gathering a bunch of resources. They might give you end game points and do all kinds of different things. The last number 6 dice you can draft, and you pay $1 to get it, but it can be any one of the other ones. So you can get locked out of these sections quite quickly because sometimes there's only 1 dice in a section you really need, and you're not first player, so you're stuck. So as long as you have a little bit more money's very tight in this game, just like in life, you can gather those 6 dice. Now, there's also that, what do they always call it? It's a church track, but I forget. Jason from Boardgame Mechanics, he calls it something funny. Do you remember what he always calls it? The slap you around track or something? Like, you need to move up this track or you're in trouble. And it's neat because you do have to move up it. If you don't move far enough up it by the end of 3 rounds, you're going to get a negative response. If you move far enough up it, you're going to get a positive thing. If you move up, just enough, it's kind of, you're neutral and you don't lose or gain anything, but it's always in this one designer. He always seems to put this in there, like Lorenzo Il Magnifico. I think he's put it in some other games too. But
Nice.
it is interesting because you need to get these symbols to move up that track, and you really want to do, because you don't want to get slapped around and lose things. So that's important. And then, of course, there's the goals that you're all racing to reach on the top right there of the board. And those take quite a few rounds to be able to accomplish, but they're doable. And you're just basically trying to get the most points. The other neat thing is when you have completed a section of rooms, like a whole color section, they each have a different bonus. Like the blue rooms give you money, I believe. And then the red rooms, I think, give you
The green tag thing, whatever that is.
the green tag. I think that's the reputation on that track, and then the other one just give you straight points. But so you can
Nice.
choose, which one you want to go for there. You're going to get points for going higher up in your hotel by putting guests in the top floors and completing columns and rows and things. It's just a real juicy game. Like, after I play a game of this, I'm just so satisfied with, gathering resources, figuring out the puzzle of which guests I'm gonna, fulfill. And I do have an expansion to this. I don't have it on this picture, but it's called Let's Waltz, and it adds champagne, which is a new resource. And you are actually putting some of these guests into the ballroom. So instead of putting them in their rooms, they're going out dancing on the ballroom. And those ballrooms are really neat because you need to spend champagne to get them there. But there's really cool bonuses on there. And then it's kind of an area control thing. After every third round, you kind of score one of the ballrooms. And depending how many of your dancers are in there, you're going to get different points. And they all score differently. So it's kind of neat. And then you all have your own unique player power hotels. And so you have this little hotel entrance at the side of your board, and it gives you a real cool player power that seems very overpowering, but they all are. Just kind of like Marco Polo, where they have those ones where it feels like it breaks the game, but everybody has one, so it's kind of neat, and they're all different. It's just awesome. And I think I love it so much because there's so many combos. You can combo with the staff, with the guests, and if you can make, you can just make some real cool things happen, and you can make your turn just be a big, juicy, lovely turn. And I introduced you to this game, and
Yes.
I think I had said, I rarely, and I shouldn't have said it, I said, I rarely lose this game. Like, I hope I don't beat you too bad, and sure enough, you won. It's like,
Beginner's luck.
Big mouth.
Must have been. Well, I had some good, because it's cool how you can get like special abilities based on like the employee
you had
that
some
you
really
hire
good
and stuff.
synergy.
I had some good ones, that worked well.
Yeah.
But
And that
the
can
whole
happen.
dice
Yep.
selection was so good. I did enjoy this one. I see why it makes your list so often.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's not the prettiest looking game, that's for sure. Like, it's like, I think Clemens Franz art, which is that old Euro type of art, but I
Yeah,
don't know, it doesn't matter to me. It's the mechanics that
it's
win me
neat
over
game
in this
though.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
for
love it.
sure. Well,
Yeah,
Grand
that's my
Austria
number one.
Hotel did not make my list because when I was thinking Game of Life, this one didn't come to mind for me. My number one is when we thought, okay, what is a game that makes you think of Game of Life? This is the first one. I was like, oh, this one. So it's like, okay, then that one's number one. Let's see where else everything goes. But this one is called CV. And it's basically you are building a life. You start, with like childhood. Will you get a pedal bike? Will you get these kind of toys? And then you go into like education. Like, are you gonna, like as you're in school, what are you gonna do there? And then you get into like your more mature portion of life. And you have these dice that have these different icons on it, like a smile or a frown or a light bulb or money or different things on it. And depending on what cards you want to add to your life, because you're building your life, like it's CV, like you're building the different things that's going to happen in your life. And you need to have the proper icon to be able to acquire those cards and add them to your life line or whatever. And then, but you can get tokens as well. So sometimes you'll get one where you get the token. So you know you have that icon. Then you're going to roll the dice to see if you get the extra one that you need as well. And you just kind of build it up. It's an interesting game. Artwork is like comical. The whole thing of it like is fairly funny. But it's just a satisfying game as kind of like, you start early on and you are building a life. So it does have that game of life feel without having to do the spin and move, like a roll and move aspect. It's all card based. But I think this one fits the theme perfectly. So that's why CV is my number one.
Yeah, I've never played this one. I had the pocket version of this at one point.
Oh, okay.
But it was mostly just about the symbols. Like it was just like a symbol collection. Like, is that?
Okay.
It didn't look like that was the case in this one, in the big game. It's not.
Well, I mean, like definitely the symbol counts for a lot because that's how
okay.
you acquire, like you get the cards. You got to have the proper, but but it's more like the story you kind of build, right?
Yeah.
Like that. It seems like it has more of a background story.
Yeah. Do you own this one?
Yeah, somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll have to play it sometime because I've never played it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we will. All right. So that was our top 9 games better than the game of life. So this weekend, I'm going to Red Deer. Carla's going to stay in Red Deer, and we're attending Card Treat, your winter card treat. And I'm going to be there the full weekend. I've lined up all the games that I'm going to play / teach. I'm teaching one as well. And so our next episode is going to be a recap of Card Treat. What did we play? What did we enjoy? I don't know if it's going to be 9 games. I mean, it's going to be. We're always playing between stuff anyways.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We have lots of time in between. And plus, we'll play Friday, and then we'll play early Saturday morning, and probably early Sunday morning. So we'll get them in there for sure.
There's no sleeping in. There's no time for that. We got to play. But yeah, so that's going to be our next episode. We're going to be talking about all the different games that we played at Card Treat. I don't know if we're playing any games together. I didn't check to see if you were. So we may have some fairly different lists.
Not the hosted games, but probably the party games we play Saturday night. We'll play some together, I'm assuming.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be great. Now, before we call it quits today, Carla, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at boardgamespecialist, all one word, and I have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. What about you?
So first of all, make sure that you join us on Discord. We're very active on there, actually. And then our Discord members kind of share all the games they play every day as well. So it's lots of neat conversation there. So be sure to join us on that. I'm on Instagram at Mel's_boardgame_room. I also have a Facebook page called Mel's Board Game Room, and my YouTube channel is called Mel's Board Game Room. So thanks so much for tuning in. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Bye for now.
If you want to stay with me, if you want to try, maybe you could